Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome your host, Dr. Michael Boroditsky.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Physicians for Physicians, a special pandemic event organized by Docs Manitoba. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are broadcasting tonight from Treaty 1 territory and that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories, and we acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and we dedicate ourselves to move forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. I'd also like to recognize it's the first night of Hanukkah, so Chag Sameach, everyone, and everyone who's with their family at home celebrating this holiday. I think back about a year and a half ago, we were in the Human Rights Museum. It's a little bit different venue, a little bit different time, about 400 people, beautifully dressed. The food, the event was excellent. Tonight will be a little bit different. It echoes in here, it's quiet, it's dark, but one thing that'll be the same, we're going to be recognizing members of our community that have excelled and showed leadership throughout. Tonight, we've promised you a break from the pressure of this second wave of COVID-19. The pandemic is taking its toll on physicians, both at work and at home. As we enter the ninth month, it's getting harder and we feel more isolated. Tonight is about bringing physicians together, supporting one another as we push through the crisis. Throughout this event, you're invited to connect with us. There's a group chat function, so please use that. We'd love to see a selfie, and you can send it to covid19@docsmanitoba.ca. And we may even include it tonight in a spotlight on tonight's viewers. You can also tweet it out using tonight's hashtag #MBDocs. I expect to see some things coming because there's only so many selfies that I want of my mother and father coming from Vancouver. Tonight is also about celebrating our profession, and in particular, to honor those physicians chosen by their peers for their outstanding contribution this year. We're not able to gather like last May at our annual gala, but the pandemic will not get in the way of celebrating this year's award winners. We will also be unveiling the new Docs Manitoba, but a little bit more on that later. First, I'd like to start off from a special message from the Honorable Janice Filmon, Lieutenant Governor of Manitoba.
It is my honor on behalf of all Manitobans to thank you, doctors of the province of Manitoba, everybody, for taking care of our people. Thank you from my heart and everybody else's. Thank you.
Thank you to Her Honor. I look forward to seeing you on Yenta Beach in Gimli this summer. You look great. Next, it's my privilege to introduce the President of Canadian Medical Association, Dr. Anne Collins, to say a few words. But before I do, I want to recognize the CMA as one of our presenting sponsors for this evening's event and thank the CMA for its support through the pandemic. The CMA has been active on the national stage, advocating for physicians while also supporting Docs Manitoba and other provincial medical associations during these uncertain times. Dr. Collins?
Good evening on behalf of the CMA. Au nom de la MC, bonsoir à tous. Thank you to Doctors Manitoba for bringing members together to connect and to support each other, especially at this time. The rising surge in COVID-19 cases has pushed Manitoba's physicians to their limits and revealed deep gaps in the healthcare system. I want to acknowledge each and every one of you for your strength, your dedication, and your commitment. Please know that your efforts are helping to get Manitobans through this crisis. Thank you for your ongoing support to your patients and to each other. I would like to congratulate your award winners and recognize the 3 CMA honorary members from Manitoba. Congratulations to Dr. Margaret Abel, Dr. Virginia Fraser, and Dr. Murray Kesselman. You serve our profession with dignity and compassion. Stay safe, be well, merci, miigwech.
Congratulations to the Manitoba CMA honorary members for 2012. We're also joined tonight by representatives from the provincial and territorial medical associations across Canada, so thanks for tuning in. I'd now like to introduce our president, Dr. Corey Bailey, to share a few words, and I know he has a surprise for you as well. Dr. Bailey did not know what he was getting into when he signed up for this. When he took over from Dr. Smith, who knew that in 2020 would feature the largest pandemic in our century? I think Dr. Bailey has been in daily contact with our CEO, guiding our advocacy and pandemic response and helping to deliver more tools and support for the physician. He has also become quite a pretty familiar face on the evening news. Dr. Bailey?
Thank you, Dr. Boroditsky. Good evening, friends and colleagues. It's my pleasure to be here at Physicians for Physicians. This has been a challenging year for physicians. The pandemic has caused tremendous impact and disruption on the work of physicians. But through it all, you've stayed focused on your patients and protecting the health of all Manitobans. So thank you. I'd also like to thank all the staff at Doctors Manitoba. They've been working so hard to support the profession so that we can support our patients. I'd like to salute the Doctors Manitoba Award winners. These 7 physicians have all made outstanding contributions to the profession and to their patients. On behalf of your colleagues, congratulations. Your Doctors Manitoba board started a major project last fall before the pandemic. We had the broadest member consultation in the organization's history, and we established a new mission for Doctors Manitoba: to strengthen and support the whole physician. While this was created before the pandemic, it served us well during these difficult times. Physicians also told us they want us to be more visible and more courageous with advocacy on their behalf. Working towards this goal, I'm excited tonight to unveil our new logo and new look for Doctors Manitoba. We've embraced bold new contemporary colors to help us stand out, and we've incorporated the lifeline because all of us, regardless of our specialty, work to better our patients' lives. You'll see a lot more of this logo and of your association in the days, weeks, and months to come. As 2020 comes to a close, and we look forward with optimism to 2021, I have one last thing to share. We have a short video to show you that tells you who Doctors Manitoba is and how we will always be there for you. We're focused on you so that you can focus on your patients. Whatever challenges you face as a physician, Doctors Manitoba has your back.
We all have a journey. Some choose one of courage, putting the lives of others ahead of their own. It's not an easy road. It comes with challenges, and good times are often met with difficult ones. It takes strength to keep traveling it, and our journey is to make sure they don't have to do it alone, to ensure that every doctor on every path has what they need to keep going, to keep helping others, and keep pursuing their calling, no matter the obstacle. Because a healthy Manitoba needs healthy doctors behind it. And whatever the road ahead may bring, we are behind them every step of the way.
I saw that video for the first time about a couple of weeks ago. It's amazing. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it's fantastic. Sorry, guys. I also hope you like the new logo. That was excellent. It just seems to be a great way to move forward with Docs Manitoba. Purple is so in nowadays. Docs Manitoba's annual awards, however, recognize excellence in the medical profession from the past year. The nominations are reviewed by a committee of physicians, and ultimately the winners are selected based on their merits. Now, before I announce our first winner, I have a matter of protocol to discuss. Normally, we all show our appreciation for the winners with uproaring applause and cheers. I'm sure you can all hardly contain yourself while you're sitting there in your underwear and housecoats. But this year, We won't be able to hear you clapping from homes across the province. So please use the chat function. Show your appreciation using emojis, sending out short messages to the winners as they're announced. I saw a few familiar faces. I saw Alec Chochnov chime in there. Dr. Picard, I saw you. I hope you're doing great. Please use the chat function. I'm sure the award winners would love to hear from you. We're going to start tonight by unveiling the 2020 Physician of the Year. This winner is someone who I met about 25 years ago, maybe not quite that many, as a med school clerk, and he was an intern. I couldn't have been happier when I saw his nomination. This year's winner for the 2020 Physician of the Year, I'd like to please congratulate Dr. Ken von Kuster.
Dr. von Kuster is an anatomical pathologist who works at the Victoria Hospital. I'm a dermatologist, and dermatologists practice very closely with our pathology counterparts. And he saw a need in our community here in Manitoba for a pathologist who was additionally trained in dermatopathology. There was a void of that information for the pathologist, so he took self-initiated steps to provide us that service. So we work very closely together, looking at the skin in the clinic and then also looking under the microscope for how the clinical correlation and the pathology correlation lead to the accurate diagnosis and therefore the best care we can provide for patients.
As a physician, I'm a little different than other physicians in the sense that I sit, at a desk with a microscope, and I essentially make tissue diagnoses, which a good number of those would be related to cancer, but there would also be a number of non-neoplastic entities or inflammatory conditions, which also require a tissue diagnosis.
So I think a lot of doctors working in the background, their efforts are not recognized, they're not out there in the spotlight, and Dr. von Kuster is one of those people that goes above and beyond consistently to provide exceptional support to his colleagues and also to the patients. So Dr. von Kuster is very deserving of recognition for all the hard work and contributions that he makes to our field and to his field of pathology. So I thought it'd be really fun to bring him in to the spotlight and get him recognized for what he does.
Well, I have to admit, I'm really surprised. It's been a lot of hard work over the years. It just really feels very special to be, considered in this capacity by your colleagues. And I think it's also special that it's not just some pathology colleagues trying to make pathology look better, but from my clinical colleagues who I really work for. So I think it really means all that much more than it came from my clinicians.
It's about going above and beyond what we see our clinical role to be when we recognize a need for patients that could be getting better care than they are and taking self-initiated steps to make that happen. Dr. von Kuster really gets excited about his job, and the passion for his work really shows through. He's caring, he's compassionate, he always gives 110%. We look up to him, and we're so happy that he was chosen for this award this year, but couldn't be more deserved.
Congratulations, Ken. Very, very well deserved. Pathologists are such a critical part of the healthcare system, but they rarely get their fair share of recognition by the patients or the public. We're so proud that this year's Physician of the Year is a pathologist and one so deserving of this recognition. I hope by now, Ken, you're two-fisted deep in some eggnog celebrating with your family. I'd now like to have a special presentation from His Worship, Mayor Brian Bowman.
Hi, everyone. I want to give my deepest thanks and heartfelt gratitude to all of the physicians of Manitoba. The severity and the duration of the COVID-19 crisis is challenging every institution, every organization, and every family in our community. But you're working in the eye of the storm. Wishing you and your families good health and all the best as you continue your life-saving work on behalf of all of us. May we all see brighter days very soon. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I thought you were looking tight, a little speckled gray. It's looking good, looking good. Next up, it's my privilege to announce this year's winner of the Health and Safety Promotion Award. This recognizes a physician for exceptional contribution towards improving or promoting the health or safety of Manitobans. Our winner this year is based in Winkler at C.W. Weed Medical Clinic. Let's congratulate Dr. Heather LEHMANN.
I'm honored and humbled to receive this award. It was a big surprise to me, and I honestly thought I might be in a bit of trouble when I first heard about the phone call, but then realized it was Doctors Manitoba. My next thought was, now that this has been recognized and I've been recognized for some of what I've been doing, it's time to take on more projects that I have going and work forward in the things that I'm doing.
So one of the things that Heather does really well is listen to people and connect with them as a person. Certainly there's a lot of our patients, I think, that get very nervous about coming to the clinic or the hospital to see their doctor and think they're going to be talked down to, and Heather has none of that. So she worked incredibly hard to start a teen clinic here locally, which has been very successful. To me, it's the promotion part that I think of with Dr. Lehmann winning the award is she has a smiling face when she shows up at work, whether it's the middle of the night or the middle of the day. She wears a Halloween costume on Halloween to come to the hospital to round and see patients. From that point alone, her promotion simply of health care is huge, because who wouldn't want to be engaged with a healthcare provider who's willing to be open and friendly and comes across as that every time you see her. The teen clinic as a safety measure for our teens in this area is huge. A safe place where they can go and ask questions that they're too embarrassed or scared to ask their parents or teachers or guidance counselors. She's able to promote that in a way that has let it become a standard thing, in particular in a fairly conservative community where asking those types of questions aren't necessarily always encouraged. So that combination of things that Heather does is just invaluable to our community.
I would encourage people to just get out there and try their ideas, especially the teen clinic. We didn't know if it was going to work. It could have been a complete flop for a number of reasons, and luckily it's been really successful and we've learned along the way. So one thing I've learned for myself is just get out there and try and see how the process goes.
And that way I can just have after. Thank you, Dr. Lehmann. Dr. Lehmann is really doing some amazing things for the young people in Winkler. I have 2 teenage daughters who I can't manage in one day, never mind a whole clinic of them. The staff at Doctors Manitoba has been working especially hard these last 9 months, fighting for what physicians have needed through this pandemic. This team is led by our CEO, Ms. Teresa Oswald, who I would like to welcome now to say a few words. Ms. Oswald?
Thank you very much, Dr. Boroditsky. You're doing a marvelous job, as always. Good evening, everyone. I want to take a moment to say congratulations to all of our award winners. We're so very proud of you. And thank you, too, to the nominators. That was no small feat to get all of the accomplishments of these award winners on paper. So we're just delighted that you did that. We really want to take an opportunity, the staff and I, to let you know how deeply inspired we are by the work that you do every day, but certainly during the pandemic. But we also know the incredible stress and the workload and the uncertainty and the potential for burnout that lays before you. And we're concerned. So we want to tell you 2 very important things. Number 1, we need you now, and so you must take care of yourself. And number 2, the thing that likely doesn't get said as often as it should, we love you. And that's why it's so important to us that you take a look at this.
Whether you work in the hospital or a community clinic,
in a northern community,
or a rural hospital,
every single physician has been impacted by COVID-19.
Every day, physicians don and doff PPE to protect ourselves, our patients, and our families.
But shouldn't the very concept of being personally protected go just beyond masks and gloves?
What about psychological PPE to protect doctors against the stress, burnout, and distress the pandemic is causing?
Even before COVID-19 was on anyone's radar, we knew that physicians have higher rates of mental health challenges than the general population.
A survey of Canadian physicians found that nearly 1/3 reported signs of burnout or depression.
Emerging studies are finding these rates are even higher during the pandemic as physicians face uncertainty, pressures, and risks as never before.
But now, in the middle of the biggest public health emergency in over a century, we have to stop staying silent if we are struggling.
And we need to be there for those colleagues who need our help and support more than ever.
So what should we do? Start by grabbing your cell phone
and add the phone number for our 24/7 physician and family support line.
It's 1-844-436-2762. Go ahead, we'll wait.
You never know when you might need it, or when you want to have it handy for a family member or a colleague in need.
Remember, this pandemic is a marathon, not a sprint.
Every physician is different, and what helps you build resilience and helps you cope is truly personal.
What is universal, however, is that every physician needs psychological PPE.
No physician is immune to the risk of burnout, depression, anxiety, or distress during this crisis.
So, what else works?
At home, I'm appreciating and enjoying the slower pace of life. I am seeing opportunities to do things I would never have had time for before.
I set time aside with the family. We all agreed that no matter what time I came home from work, we'd sit around the table to eat.
I make a point of checking in with someone daily, a family member, a friend, a colleague, a mentor, or a mentee.
For exercise, we work out at home and we walk our dog Yoho.
It's important to realize that we can't solve every problem. We need to be kind to ourselves and to others. I try to take time to reflect, and I use mindfulness and yoga to manage stress.
As much as possible, I try not to be consumed by the medicine bubble. I consciously limit my time on social media and watching the news.
Reach out if you're struggling. It's the people who get us through residency in medicine. You realize that we're part of such a well-supported community, and that our interconnectedness makes all the difference.
COVID-19 has helped me to find balance in my life. It helped me to identify what's really important to me in life. My family, date nights with my husband, reading books, and finding time to exercise and take some time for myself in amongst the chaos of daily life.
Take the time to figure out what works for you.
Self-care is not selfish.
And know that your colleagues and Doctors Manitoba are there for you every step of the way.
It truly is important to take your health and wellness seriously as physicians, and really now more than ever. I see the chat function is working a lot. A little shout out to Dr. Heloa, Dr. West. Glad to see you there. Dr. Seisha, I haven't seen you in ages. I miss working with you tons. A few past winners, Dr. Klassen, Dr. Palatnik. Really nice to see you guys engage in congratulating the present winners. Our next award winner knows what it's like to work in stressful, high-pressure environments. He is this year's winner of Docs Manitoba Administration Award, which recognizes a physician for his or her contribution to health policy and or an administration of health care. Dr. Ricardo Labato de Feria spent years improving emergency care at Seven Oaks Hospital, and he's now applying his expertise in the community with a new minor injury and illness clinic. Join me in congratulating Dr. Labato de Feria.
Ricardo's always been an innovator, and he was an early adopter of electronic medical records in our transition from old-style papered records, and medicine, unfortunately, was not an early adopter. He was.
Well, first I would like to thank the individuals who selected me for this. This was fantastic. They've been with me for many years, and this was a real honor.
He was our region's representative on e-health, and he was very open to transforming Seven Oaks Hospital to a paperless, relatively paperless world, despite the objections of many of us who were used to the old system. And so he is not afraid of innovation, and he's certainly not afraid of technology.
15 years ago, some of these positions landed on my lap. I was a little scared at the time, but I remember that I really liked Lego. And What I've been able to do over the last 15 years is basically use the same principles that you do with Lego. You build things up, you break them down a little bit, and you try to improve every time. And this was an opportunity that was given to me to actually perform this. There is no solution that's going to heal everything. And if you try very hard, you might actually not be able to do so. One of the things you learn when you do an MBA is that about 70% of projects fail. So if you have one big project and that one fails, you've lost it completely. If on the other hand you have 10 little projects and 2 or 3 of them succeed, you've got something to show for it.
As leaders within the healthcare system, we don't always get our way. We do lose battles that can't make us stop. You have to always be looking sort of beyond today, beyond next year, to 5 and 10 years hence. And so the manner in which Ricardo conducted himself, I think, was very admirable and reflects the character of a true innovator and leader.
Hey, I'm Josh Morrissey from the Winnipeg Jets. And on behalf of the Winnipeg Jets, I just want to say a huge thank you to all our physicians across the province of Manitoba. I think in these uncertain times that the pandemic has brought upon us, for the people of Manitoba to have the certainty that our physicians are there for them and for all of us, you know, it really it gives us all hope that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and that we can make it through this. So thank you so much for everything you've done, everything you continue to do. Your sacrifices will never be forgotten, and I hope that you know, you can have some time to spend with your families these holidays and this holiday season. And again, thank you so much. We'll be forever grateful for what you've done for us all, and happy holidays.
Is it just me, or did he look a little Jesus-esque with the little flow in the back and the glow around him? Thank you very much for the message, Josh Morrissey and the Winnipeg Jets. And I think it needs to be said, domo arigato, Dr. Labato. Many of Doctors Manitoba's members are not only physicians, but also academics. Working as a professor and researchers, each year we recognize one physician academics who stands out with our Scholastic Award. In recognition of scholarly activity in the health profession, this year I have the honor of announcing Dr. Yoav Kainan.
Dr. Kainan joined the section of infectious diseases about 15 years ago, initially as a trainee and then subsequently as a member of our faculty. Yoav has been able to take questions and ideas and convert them from those questions and ideas to research projects. And those research projects have a direct clinical application, which is the beauty of having a clinician scientist, as they can see the large picture of patient care delivery, and the solving of complex questions that hopefully can be applied locally, nationally, and internationally.
I feel very honored and privileged to win this award. It's a great honor to be among the list of recipients of this prestigious award. And this award is a culmination of many years of work and too many years of education, probably.
Dr. Kainan was the perfect choice for the Scholastic Award, as he embodies all concepts scholastic. Specifically, he is an investigator, a clinician, an administrator, and an educator.
The most important people in this are my trainees that have inspired me to look for answers to their complex questions and to continue pursuing research and lifelong learning.
Dr. Kainan's ability to collaborate is critical. Dr. Kainan's formed global collaborations, and this also comes back to us in Manitoba and in Winnipeg.
Research cannot be done alone. It's done with excellent collaboration, and my collaborators deserve to be here even more than I do.
Hello, my name is David Chartrand, President of the Manitoba Meat Federation. On the 125,000 people I represent in this province, we want to bring thank you to every doctor in this province for your courage and heroism, for standing up and being there when we need you most. We want to say thank you so much. It can, in fact, share enough words to embrace how we feel. But we know we can count on you. We depend on you. So doctors, physicians, nurses, all those, I say thank you on behalf of the Métis government. And doctors, I wish I can just put my arms around you and hug you and say thank you on behalf of my people. Keep up the good work. I know you got our back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Chartrand. The sincerity of your warm words is felt by all the physicians. And congratulations again, Yoav. Couldn't find a better winner. I love the shades, a little bit of Joe Biden you had there walking around. It's excellent. Our next award is special in that Doctors Manitoba only bestows it upon a physician in those years where a worthy nomination is received. The Humanitarian Award recognizes a physician for outstanding contributions in the service of humanity, either within Canada or abroad. The award is named after and was inspired by Dr. Jack Armstrong, who is well known for his commitment to improving healthcare for First Nations people and his commitment to volunteerism. Dr. Armstrong is a past president of Doctors Manitoba, but also sat on the boards of the United Way, New Directions, Native and Women's Transition Center, and the Social Planning Council of Winnipeg, among others. I believe he would have been proud for this year's Doctors Manitoba Humanitarian Award, Dr. Neil Creighton.
Well, I, like all the other members of Doctors Manitoba, know Neil first and foremost as a sports medicine specialist, and since November of last year, he is known as the team doctor of the Grey Cup champion Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I didn't know very much, if anything, about Neil's other side, which is his humanitarian side. I had been aware, as had many others, that in 2018 he had published a book, but on the basis of this book, the board at Westminster United Church, where I attend, invited Neil to come give a talk. And I was struck by the way in which his work clearly translated and embodied the tenets of humanitarianism, which is people who believe in the notion that it's a person's duty and responsibility to improve the welfare of their fellow man. Neil clearly was a humanitarian physician in the best sense of the word. Now, I digress for a second here just to say that Jack Armstrong and I were classmates. We both graduated in '66. He, in his work with disadvantaged children, often Indigenous, really became quite a humanitarian, which resulted in Doctors Manitoba striking this award called the Jack Armstrong Humanitarian Award.
I am very, very grateful that Doctors Manitoba has considered it appropriate to acknowledge the good work done at the Saul Sayre Healthcare Center at Silo Mission. I know doctors' work can be difficult at times. Running a clinic myself in the community, there's administrative work, there's business work. Those things are draining. But the work here, when you're a volunteer, brings you back to the beauty of medicine, serving people with problems. The Saul Sayre Healthcare Center is staffed by people from every healthcare discipline. And there are several physicians from Manitoba that provide care there. And so it's on that community, everybody working together, a team trying to help people with very diverse healthcare problems. And it's a beautiful representation of medicine being a team. And it's really for that team that this award has been given. And that acknowledgement means a lot to me.
I'd like to offer my most sincere thanks for all you've done and continue to do for our province. I know the amount of personal sacrifice is enormous, so thank you, truly. All the best, stay safe, better days ahead.
Thank you, Ace, for those kind words. My wife was very excited when she saw you on the video. She loves you. My daughter, all she asked was Brody from 104 going to be there? Can't win them all. Neil, excellent. Congratulations. I don't know if you remember the first time we met, you took me for lunch at Green Jeans in the Portage Place. And then I think it washed out a year later, but it was great. Great experience. Congratulations. One of Doctors Manitoba's new values is being forward thinking. This can mean a lot of things, like anticipating what's to come for physicians so well positioned to continue serving our patients. But it also means supporting the future of the profession, medical students and residents. Each year, we honor a resident for excellence in academic and clinical training and noteworthy contributions to their individual program or specialty. This year's Resident of the Year is Dr. Claire Whitehead. Dr. Whitehead completed her residency this year and is now caring for patients in the far north. In fact, she's not even able to join us tonight because she's working without internet connection in Kagluktuk, Nunavut. So our virtual applause will have to be extra loud tonight so we can congratulate Dr. Whitehead on the 2020 Resident of the Year.
We looked within our program to identify a resident who really captured all the traits of what we look for in a strong resident. And we really felt that Claire always had very strong clinical performance, worked very well with her patients, took good care of them, was a good team player as a senior resident, leading ward teams, and then really a commitment to our program and wanting to help make the residents better, make the residency program better, and make the Department of Pediatrics better. You know, probably the best example of that is her resident research project. So
early on in medical school, I realized that I was interested in northern medicine, and that was part of the reason why I chose to come to Winnipeg, because of the catchment area that we serve and also the opportunity to visit northern communities on outreach trips. I think it's really important to see families and children in the places that they actually are living, rather than when they're in a foreign environment here in Winnipeg.
Through the course of her research, looking at kind of attitudes and perceptions of residents towards patients on different services, she was able to uncover that the Pine service, which represents primarily the northern and indigenous communities, had some fairly negative perceptions of those patients, and she really wanted to address that. So Claire was able to take the results of her research and bring that forward to hospital leadership, where that is now impacting change. So she's had a positive impact on her organization in looking out for the best interests of her patients.
It also puts a different perspective on meeting the families. You would have entire extended families sometimes coming into the visit. So you get to know the children and the families in very different ways, and I think that's a really, really important piece of caring for the children and these families, and is an amazing opportunity that we get here in this program in Winnipeg.
Claire's an excellent pediatrician and will be an excellent pediatrician, but I think really her commitment to serving and working in northern remote communities and serving Indigenous and underserved populations is really going to be an inspiration to other residents in the program.
Winning the Resident of the Year award is a huge honor, and it really means a lot that I've been recognized by my program and by Doctors Manitoba. Your residency is a challenging journey, and I certainly couldn't have done it without my fellow residents. They've been a huge help to me. All of the attendings and all of the staff at Children's Hospital have been a really amazing part of my journey, and I certainly couldn't have done it without them. And then my program directors have also been a huge help and support to me throughout this whole process.
Congratulations, Claire. Well deserved. I noticed we have a few other past winners joining us, Dr. Ireland and Dr. Casper for a joint award last year. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Our past CMA president is logged in, Dr. Osler. Welcome, everybody. Keep those pictures coming in if you haven't already sent some selfies. And I've still been looking. Mom, Dad, haven't seen anything, just saying. Anyways, medical students have also been impacted by this pandemic, as it has disrupted not only their in-class studies, but also their clinical learning opportunities. But I have to say, I've been inspired by how medical students have adapted. They've also been so understanding and helpful to attending physicians through COVID. Last year, students offered to help with childcare and errands for physicians and healthcare workers, and many have stepped in to help with health system response too. The Manitoba Medical Student Association has sent a brief message for physicians tonight. Thank you to the medical students for helping.
Hi, I'm Ali from the Manitoba Medical Student Association. This past year, our Manitoba physicians have shown us what bravery and advocacy look like in the face of a pandemic. We wanted to express our gratitude by sharing a video with you this holiday season. Enjoy.
Gitsi Miigwech, a heartfelt thank you.
Thank you for all your work that you've done throughout this pandemic and for continuing to support, mentor, and teach students during this trying time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to all of Winnipeg's healthcare workers. You guys are the real heroes, and we appreciate everything you do. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you for your hard work and the sacrifices you're making to keep Manitobans healthy.
Thank you so much for all the time and effort you have all put into making our province and our communities a safer place. We're all so blessed to have amazing role models to look up to. We hope to one day embody the same characteristics you're all demonstrating right now. We understand all of you are making sacrifices, and once again, want to say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, doctors, for getting us through these tough times.
Good evening. Physicians are working every day in hospitals,
personal care homes, and community clinics, treating patients with COVID-19, while also attending to other medical concerns. But as you continue caring for your patients, you yourself are risking infection. Around the world, hundreds of doctors have died from COVID-19. Here in Manitoba, we know of at least 27 physicians who have tested positive for COVID-19, with many, many more isolating as a precaution. But other members of the healthcare team are taking risks as well. And in our province, COVID-19 has claimed 2 of them. Jean-Claude Dianzenza Bahiti was a healthcare aide at Victoria General Hospital. He was married for 30 years. He had 10 children and 10 grandchildren. A home care worker from the community of St. Anne has also died. Please join me in a moment of silence to remember these healthcare workers who have made the ultimate sacrifice, as well as the hundreds of Manitobans we've lost to COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bradshaw. And I'd like to add my sympathies to all the families who have lost someone during COVID-19. For those physicians who've had to self-isolate due to COVID-19, there's a new support benefit available to you. And as of today, you can apply online. Just visit doctorsmanitoba.ca/isolation. Tonight's event wouldn't have been possible without the support of our presenting sponsors, including MD Financial Management and Scotiabank. Allow me to introduce Daniel Labonte, President and CEO of MD Financial Management. Daniel's passionate about leading an organization focused exclusively helping Canadian physicians and their families take care of their financial well-being. But for Daniel, it's also a bit personal, as he proudly supports his daughter, who is currently completing her medical degree. He witnesses firsthand the continuing dedication it takes to become a physician. Daniel would like to say a few words.
Good evening. On behalf of MD Financial Management and Scotiabank, it's my honor to speak to you this evening. This event is dedicated to recognizing your remarkable efforts during this difficult year, including your resiliency through this recent second wave. Across the country, we've been listening to physicians, learning how difficult it's been to serve during a pandemic, while also trying to deal with financial challenges. To the thousands of physicians across the province, thank you for rising to this massive challenge. Thank you for keeping communities as safe as possible. And thank you for the sacrifices you and your family made this year. We want you to know that while you are focused on your patients, we're committed to supporting you. Together with Scotiabank and the CMA, we provided $250,000 to support Manitoba doctors through COVID. We've also committed another $250,000 over the next 4 years to support the Physician Wellness Initiative that are being brought forward in Manitoba. And we've also teamed up on a new $1 million project that uses a community of practice model designed to make real positive changes at both the organization and the system level. We're really proud to work with Doctors Manitoba to see where funds are most needed and what help we can offer physicians during these times of crisis. 2020 has reminded us that the country's backbone is our healthcare professionals. So again, thank you for your ongoing efforts and commitment to the health of the families you care for. And of course, congratulations to the deserving award winners recognized here tonight. Be well and stay safe in the months to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. MD Financial and Scotiabank have also sponsored a door prize for tonight's event. All physicians had the opportunity to enter in advance, and MD has gift baskets from Bothwell Cheese for tonight's winners. Congratulations to Dr. Cynthia Santos, Dr. Chandran John Baker, and Dr. Mark Ranson. Dr. Baker, my wife loves you. We did her spinal for her second section. It was like butter. You're dear to her. Thank you to MD Financial and Scotiabank for continuing to support physicians. Doctors work side by side with nurses every day. We are in this pandemic together. We have a message from Darlene Jackson, the president of the Manitoba Nurses Union.
Throughout this pandemic, both nurses and physicians have called for better protection, transparency, and support for healthcare workers. Nurses and physicians are working tirelessly to provide quality care and to improve our healthcare system. On behalf of 12,000 nurses in this province, we send our appreciation for your efforts and your advocacy. Thank you.
Thanks, Darlene. Earlier tonight, we invited you to send up some selfies, some pictures. I'd like to ask our producer to see if we can call up a few. Take a look. Oh, that's nice. Perfect, perfect. That's nice. Oh, ex-president, Dr. Prum, Dr. Oz, all little dogs sleeping there. Beautiful. It's nice to see everybody getting involved. It's nice to see everybody at home doing well and safe. Send in some more. I'd love to see stuff. It's fun for us here. It's very quiet here, so anything you can do, we'd love it. Kids and young people across Manitoba have had a very different school experience this year. And by all accounts, the efforts of students and teachers have been successful in preventing COVID-19 from spreading in schools. A group of kids in grade 5 class of Madam Haley Belensky, Madam Erica Stetchison at Marie-Anne-Gaboury School have a message for physicians and healthcare workers.
It's just me or school weird this year with COVID. I mean, we are following the best advice from doctors and nurses to stay safe. We've learned to wear masks. 8 meters distance. And to wash and sanitize our hands more often. To help protect us from COVID-19. To all the doctors and nurses across Manitoba. Thank you!
That's my favorite video. The kids are great. Thanks to all the students for taking COVID-19 seriously. We know it isn't easy, and we hope things will be back to normal before too long. It's now time for our last award of the evening, the Distinguished Service Award. This honor is bestowed each year upon a physician to recognize the service he or she has provided to their patients and the community for devotion to the highest ideals of medical profession and the promotion of the art and science of medicine through teaching, writing, and administration. This year's Distinguished Service Award winner has walked a unique path and now finds herself working with Indigenous communities on the east side of Manitoba. Her story is truly inspiring, and it's the kind of story I think all physicians need to hear right now, more than ever. Join me in congratulating Dr. Sabina Ijaz.
I've known of Dr. Ijaz's work in the First Nations communities around Pine Falls for at least the past 15 years, and I felt it was time to honor her and to put a spotlight on the kind of work that Sabina does. She's not only a medical expert, she is a mentor, an administrator, a community leader, a community organizer, a researcher, and a gifted writer.
Well, I'm incredibly honored and humbled to receive this recognition by my physician colleagues and supported by the communities where I work. And I see this acknowledgement more as an acknowledgement of the type of work that's happening under the leadership of Indigenous communities, particularly the Indigenous knowledge keepers.
For us, it's always been about offering greater support, to the health and wellness of all human beings. And it was really welcome to have someone of her caliber to be a part of a vision that I had years ago, to create a place that would reflect our identity as a people.
When I nominated Sabina, my nomination letter was accompanied by 13 letters of support. The patient letters were really touching. They said that Sabina provided compassionate care to them in a way that they hadn't ever received it before, and that felt incredibly healing to them.
I think to acknowledge and understand that many of our patients, particularly Indigenous people, have experienced trauma, and that might not always be evident. And to always be cognizant that our patients are sometimes being re-traumatized by the healthcare that they're receiving, and to really take extra special care to be as understanding and kind as possible in their interactions.
I took her on as a doctor whenever I needed. And when I did get sick, Dr. Ijaz made a personal commitment to check with my family and how I was doing with my health. So I really appreciate what she has done for me and my family when I was gravely ill.
I know that the communities have really welcomed her because of her character. She has always shown and reflected the kindness, the humbleness. It's said within our lodges, it will be the people of the heart that will change the world. And I really, really consider her as a person of the heart because of that compassion that she has, and she shows the patients that come to her.
She is a doer. She is able to dream and to also bring those dreams to reality. She's a beautiful person who lives and acts with love.
Congratulations again to Dr. Ijaz. Her story is truly inspiring. And I'd like to congratulate all the winners this year. It's well-deserved from everyone. It's been my privilege to serve you as a host tonight, recognizing such dedicated and exceptional people. We've had over 500 people tune in tonight, which is even more than we had at the dinner last year for 400, which hopefully next year we can all be in person for even more than that. Before we end tonight, I would like to do a few quick closing comments. Tonight's full broadcast alone will be available in the next few days to watch again. Plus, you can also watch the full acceptance speeches of tonight's award winners. You'll receive an email with this link later. Thank you tonight for the presenting sponsors of the CMA, MD Financial Management, and Scotiabank for making tonight possible. And thank you to all the staff at Doctors Manitoba for their hard work in the producing Physicians for Physicians and finding a way to adapt with the times so we could still come together when we really needed it most. A special thank you to Mr. Rick Sawyer and Mr. Keir Johnson and to Tina Larson. And I apologize if there's anybody else I met. There's a lot of people helping behind the scenes to make tonight happen. It truly is an exceptional team effort. I'd like to also thank Michael J. Scott Productions for the amazing videos of tonight's award winners, to Encore AV for helping us produce tonight's broadcast, and to all the physicians and medical learners across the province. This pandemic has changed our practice. It will no doubt have lasting impacts. It's disrupted how we practice medicine, but you've embraced this change, finding new ways to continue caring for your patients. Whatever lies ahead, we are in this together. We are all here for each other. Reach out to a colleague if you need help, and remember, you can always contact Docs Manitoba by emailing covid19@doctorsmanitoba.ca. Thank you for watching. Happy holidays. Good night, everyone. Enjoy. Be safe.
We all have a journey. Some choose one of courage, putting the lives of others ahead of their own. It's not an easy road. It comes with challenges, and good times are often met with difficult ones. It takes strength to keep traveling it, and our journey is to make sure they don't have to do it alone, to ensure that every doctor on every path has what they need to keep going, to keep helping others, and keep pursuing their calling, no matter the obstacle. Because a healthy Manitoba needs healthy doctors behind it. And whatever the road ahead may bring, we are behind them every step of the way.